Imagine the money hits your account on a Thursday afternoon, and by Friday morning, everyone has already decided what kind of person you should become. Your sister thinks you should finally help the family. Your old friends think you should loosen up. Your spouse thinks life should look different now. Your financial advisor wants to schedule a meeting. Your phone will not stop lighting up. You thought getting rich overnight would make life quieter. That is the fantasy. But in real life, sudden wealth often makes everything louder, because every hidden expectation around you finally has a number attached to it. If you like calm, honest finance explained without hype, fake motivation, or rich quick fantasies, subscribe to the channel before we go deeper, because this is really about what happens to your mind after the money arrives. The first thing you notice is relief. The rent is handled. The mortgage is handled. The credit card balance can disappear. The student loans no longer feel like a chain around your future. But relief is not a plan. Relief is a feeling. And if you let a feeling design your new financial life, it will usually design something expensive, emotional, and very hard to undo. You tell yourself you will only upgrade a few things. A better car because the old one embarrassed you. A nicer apartment because you are tired of explaining the neighborhood. A few gifts because people were there for you when life was hard. None of those decisions feels dangerous alone. That is what makes them dangerous together. Sudden wealth rarely disappears because of one monster mistake. It leaks out through decisions that all sound reasonable in the moment. Then comes the identity shift. You are no longer just the person who got lucky, inherited money, sold a company, won a lawsuit, or had one investment explode. You become the person people watch. And once you feel watched, your spending can stop being about comfort and start becoming a performance, even if you never admit that out loud. You might not even notice it happening. At first you say yes because it feels good. Yes to dinner. Yes to helping with rent. Yes to the family trip. Yes to the friend who says he only needs a small loan until things turn around. Then one day, saying no starts to feel cruel because everyone has already adjusted to the version of you who says yes. That is how generosity becomes a role, and once you are inside that role, leaving it can feel like betraying people. This is where money management gets personal. A spreadsheet can show you what you spent. It cannot show you how much of that spending came from guilt, fear, loneliness, pride, or the need to finally look like someone who made it. You begin to understand that sudden wealth does not just change your options. It changes the emotional price of every option. A normal no becomes a family event. A normal purchase becomes a statement. A normal mistake becomes gossip. Most people think the first danger is overspending. But the first danger is actually losing privacy. Once too many people know, your money starts living in other people's imaginations before you have even decided what it means in your own life. Someone will imagine you as selfish if you protect it. Someone will imagine you as rich enough to solve their emergency. Someone will imagine you as arrogant if you stay the same. Someone will imagine you as fake if you change. And because you are still human, you may start making financial decisions to manage those reactions. That is the trap. You are no longer only managing money. You are managing perception, expectation, and the discomfort of being misunderstood. 6 months later, the account may still look strong, but your life feels less peaceful. You have nicer things, but more tension. You have fewer bills, but more conversations you avoid. You have more options, but a harder time knowing which ones are truly yours. Comment checklist below if you want the free checklist. I'll pin it in the comments so you can review the boundaries, money habits, and quiet decisions that matter before a financial windfall changes the room around you. Now, the deeper question is not how much money you received. The deeper question is whether your old emotional patterns are still the ones driving the new financial life. The first deep trap is lifestyle inflation with a better story attached to it. Before the money, a bigger apartment was a want. After the money, it becomes something you deserve after everything you survived. That word, deserve, can get expensive. You deserve the safer neighborhood. You deserve the better car. You deserve the trip. You deserve to stop checking prices at restaurants. And maybe some of that is true. But the budget does not care whether a purchase has an emotional backstory. The second trap is confusing paid-off debt with solved behavior. Clearing a credit card balance feels powerful, and it is. But if the habits that created the balance are still alive, the debt was not removed. It was reset. That is why some people receive a windfall, wipe out $40,000 of debt, and then slowly rebuild $18,000 of new debt within 2 years. Not because they are bad with money forever, but because the old routine kept running after the old problem disappeared. The third trap is fake sophistication. Once you have money, people start using more complicated language around you. Private placements, tax shelters, short-term rentals, option strategies, pre-IPO access, commercial property, alternative assets. Some of those things can be legitimate. But complexity can also become a costume. If you cannot explain where the money goes, how it comes back, what could break, who gets paid first, and what happens if you need cash, you are not investing. You are hoping politely. The fourth trap is losing the ordinary habits that made life stable. Cooking at home, waiting before purchases, comparing insurance quotes, knowing what subscriptions are charging you, checking taxes before celebrating income. These sound small, but small habits are the guardrails. Here is the psychological part. You may know all of this and still ignore it because sudden wealth creates a strange pressure to stop acting ordinary. You worry that being careful means you are still thinking poor. You worry that saying no means you are not generous. You worry that waiting means you are wasting the chance, so you rush. Not always loudly, sometimes quietly. You upgrade the house before understanding the carrying cost. You invest before understanding the risk. You help before setting boundaries. You spend before giving your nervous system time to calm down. And underneath all of it is one hidden fear. If you do not become a new version of yourself fast enough, maybe people will think the money was wasted on you. Think about it like moving into a bigger house before you know where the doors lock. The rooms are beautiful. The space is exciting. But until you understand the exits, the alarms, the bills, and who has a key, the house is not peace. It is exposure. Sudden wealth is the same. The number looks like safety, but safety comes from systems. A tax plan, a spending plan, a giving plan, an investment plan, a rule for when you wait, a rule for when you say no. Without those systems, every emotional moment becomes a financial decision. A fight with your spouse becomes a purchase. A guilty phone call becomes a loan. A bad week becomes a vacation. A family story becomes an obligation. And because the account still looks large, the early mistakes do not scare you. That is what makes them powerful. A normal person feels pain quickly when money leaks. A newly wealthy person can leak for years before the damage becomes obvious. The solution is not to become cheap. The solution is to become clear. Cheap says no because it is afraid. Clear says no because the money already has a job. Some of the money's job may be safety. Some may be long-term investing. Some may be education. Some may be family support. Some may be giving. Some may be enjoyment. But every dollar cannot be available for every feeling. This is why a written plan matters. Not because paper is magic, but because written rules protect you from the version of yourself that gets emotional, tired, flattered, pressured, or embarrassed. If you receive a windfall and immediately start improvising, you are letting the most unstable season of your life write the rules for the most important financial opportunity you may ever have. Comment checklist below and check the pinned comment. I'll leave the free checklist there so you can review the quiet questions that help protect your cash flow, relationships, and peace after a major money event. The first real step is to slow everything down. Put the money somewhere safe. Confirm the taxes. Do not upgrade the house yet. Do not become everyone's lender yet. Do not invest in anything just because the person explaining it sounds rich. Second, create a 90-day rule for anything emotional. If a purchase, loan, gift, investment, or lifestyle upgrade feels urgent, write it down and wait. Real priorities survive waiting. Emotional pressure usually hates waiting because waiting exposes it. Third, decide your giving rules before someone you love asks for money. That may sound cold, but it is actually kinder. Clear rules keep you from saying yes with resentment or saying no with panic. Fourth, do not confuse complicated investing with smart investing. A simple diversified portfolio, a cash reserve, and a tax plan may not sound impressive at dinner, but impressive is often where people get hurt. Fifth, keep a normal rhythm somewhere in your life. A job, a business, a project, a volunteer role, a fitness routine, a weekly meeting, something. Your brain needs structure more than your fantasy wants to admit. And maybe most importantly, do not rush to become the person other people expect wealth to create. You do not need a louder life just because the account got larger. You do not need to perform success for people who were not responsible for protecting your future. The big reveal is that sudden wealth does not solve your relationship with money. It reveals it. It shows whether money was a tool, a trophy, a shield, a wound, a rescue mission, or proof you were waiting to show the world. A windfall can change your bank account in a day, but it cannot build your judgment for you. So ask yourself honestly, if the money arrived tomorrow, would you slow down, or would you start proving something? Would you build systems, or would you start improvising? Would you protect peace, or would you try to buy the version of yourself you think people would finally respect? Comment checklist below and check the pinned comment. I'll leave the free checklist there so you can review the habits, boundaries, and money decisions that matter before a major financial change turns private emotions into public pressure. Getting rich overnight sounds like the end of struggle, but for many people, it is the first time life asks who they are when money can no longer take the blame.